The jewelry these is paying, they getting overpriced. And
everybody who's watching, if you got anything from Johnny, check that because that boy be putting that CBD in y'all.
Johnny Dang, the so-called king of bling, now sitting in the middle of a wild rumor storm. People are really saying this man might have been selling rappers fake diamonds. And it didn't come from some random troll either. It came from someone who used to be right inside his circle.
man, when I look at Johnny Dang, he's the biggest culture vulture in hip-hop right now.
His own former employee told everybody straight up, go get your jewelry checked. Once folks actually started checking,
I was an asset to your company, bro. Nobody was doing that I was doing for you, bro. You sitting at your $1 million mansion, chilling, drinking your cognac, like
everything got shaky real fast. Chains, grills, watches. Suddenly nobody was looking at their pieces the same way.
Everybody who's watching, if you got anything from Johnny, check that because that boy be putting that CBD in y'all.
Millions spent, and now people are questioning all of it. This is how everything unraveled. Back in mid-March 2026, hip-hop internet went into full meltdown mode, and it all kicked off with one guy, one Instagram live, and one insanely expensive grill. Houston rapper Sauce Walker, someone who had been rocking with Johnny Dang for years, jumped online and completely detonated the situation. And when we say detonated, we mean he didn't hold anything back. This wasn't a calm call out. This was loud, messy, and public in the craziest way possible. He basically lit a match and threw it into a 20-year relationship for everybody to see. Sauce popped up on live showing off a brand new permanent grill worth over $1 million. But here's where it gets messy. That grill wasn't made by Johnny Dang. It was made by Gio, also known as Plug Gio, Johnny's former employee. Let that sink in for a second. That's not just switching jewelers. That's switching sides completely. He didn't just quietly move on either. Sauce made it a whole moment. He pulled out his old Johnny Dang pieces right there on live and basically retired them on the spot. Then he told his followers to do the same. Swap out the old and go with Gio instead. That's loud, and Sauce wasn't talking small money either. He claimed he spent hundreds of thousands, possibly over $500,000 over the years with Johnny. We're talking custom, grills, chains, even a massive Cuban link chain so expensive it had to be handled inside a bank. But here's the real accusation that shook everything. Sauce claimed he was being charged top-tier prices for natural diamonds, while allegedly getting lab-grown stones instead. In simple terms, he felt played, straight up. Now this is where things get technical, but it matters because this detail is the whole reason the internet went crazy. Lab-grown diamonds and natural diamonds, they look exactly the same. Same shine, same hardness, same sparkle. You cannot tell the difference just by looking. Even jewelers with basic tools can't easily tell them apart. It takes advanced lab testing to really know what's what. So visually, they're identical, but the price difference, that's where things get serious. As of 2026, lab-grown diamonds can cost around 70% less than natural ones. A natural diamond might cost $5,000, while a lab version of the same quality might be worth under $1,500. That gap is huge. So if someone is selling lab-grown stones at natural diamond prices, that's where people start yelling finesse. That's the core of the whole situation right there. Now Sauce Walker lit the match, but the gasoline came from someone even closer to the source, Gio himself. Gio, aka Plug Gio, wasn't just some outsider talking crazy. He used to work directly with Johnny Dang for years before leaving around 2021. And when he finally spoke up, he didn't hold back at all. He jumped on Instagram Live and started exposing everything, how he was treated, how much he was paid, and what he claimed was happening behind the scenes. According to Gio, he was flying out multiple times a week, dealing with high-profile clients, moving serious money, and helping generate millions.
And that's really the reason why I left, because there was no loyalty in none of this shit that he was saying.
But he said he was only making $10 an hour with a small commission. He claimed he asked for a raise from 2% to 4% and got denied. He also said money was being taken out of his checks over small mistakes. That already sounded rough. Then came the biggest claim. Gio alleged that lab-grown diamonds were being used and sold as natural stones, complete with certifications, while prices were massively marked up. He claimed pieces costing a few thousand to make were being sold for tens of thousands. And that's exactly why what Sauce Walker and Plug Gio said hit like a truck, because if even a small piece of it is true, then the whole empire starts looking shaky. Everything Johnny Don built, the trust, the reputation, the legacy, suddenly gets questioned. And the fallout, it wasn't just big, it was about to get ugly. By this point, the internet was in full chaos mode. Every hip-hop page, every reaction channel, every group chat, everybody was talking about Johnny Dang and these diamond accusations. You couldn't scroll for 5 seconds without seeing wild thumbnails like Johnny Dang gets jumped or biggest jewelry, scam in hip hop. Now let's clear that up real quick. There was no fight, no jumping, none of that. That was straight clickbait. But even without anything physical happening, the damage was real. This was a hit to reputation, and it landed hard. So what did Johnny do? He didn't stay quiet. Within hours of everything going viral, he jumped on Instagram and dropped a series of heated videos. Not one, not two, multiple clips. And you could hear it in his voice. This wasn't fake emotion. This sounded personal. This wasn't some clean PR response written by a team. This was raw, straight from him. A man who clearly felt betrayed. We're talking about someone he had known for over 20 years. Not just a customer, but someone tied to the same city, the same culture, the same come up. He spoke directly to Sauce Walker and basically said, you don't have to do business with me, but don't throw my name around without respect. That message was loud and clear. Johnny talked about their long history, saying he never disrespected Sauce, never played him, never gave him freebies, but also never asked for any.
You asked to see the boss? I'm Johnny Dang, the king of bling. Is it on the rock?
It was always business, always mutual. He even revealed something people didn't expect. He said he reached out privately before all this went public, tried to sit down, have dinner, even offered to bring Sauce into business opportunities so they could make money together. But instead of handling it behind the scenes, it went public. Then Johnny shifted to his own story, reminding people where he came from, a village in Vietnam with nothing, no electricity, no easy life, and how he built everything from the ground up with years of work. That part hit different for a lot of people.
My father and my grandfathers were jewelers. So in Vietnam, when I grow up, saw them how to make jewelry. So that's got in my mind about jewelry.
When it came to Plug Gio, Johnny painted a different picture. He described him as a former employee who left suddenly and had his own reasons for speaking out, basically saying there's more to that story than what's being told. Now, about the diamond accusations, Johnny didn't go super technical in those first response videos. He didn't break down every claim piece by piece.
I've been in Houston since that day. When I came here, I went to work in flea market as a jewelry repair. After flea market, I opened in garage like a small kind of workshop.
Instead, he posted separate clips showing diamonds being tested in his shop and pointed out something important. His high-end clients request natural stones specifically. He also made it clear that telling the difference between lab-grown and natural diamonds isn't simple at all. To the naked eye, they look the same. That added another layer to the whole debate. While all this was happening, other names in the culture started jumping in. Chief Keef, for example, decided to test his own jewelry publicly. He took his Johnny Dang pieces to a mall jeweler, had them checked on camera, and they passed as natural diamonds. He posted the results like, my stuff is solid, relax, but funny enough, that didn't calm things down. It actually did the opposite. Now everybody started doing the same thing. People were running to jewelers, filming tests, posting results, and the outcomes? Mixed. Some passed, some raised questions, and now the internet had even more to argue about. At the same time, voices like Charleston White got louder. He had already been speaking on Johnny Dang before this situation, but now, way more people were listening. Charleston came with strong opinions, questioning the relationship between hip-hop artists and jewelers outside the culture. He basically argued that a lot of money flows one way, without enough balance coming back. Whether people agreed or not, his message started gaining traction during this moment. And that right there shows how deep this situation really got. This wasn't just about one jeweler anymore. This turned into a bigger conversation about trust, business, and how artists are treated across the board. Then you've got smaller artists who had already been speaking up before all this exploded. One example, Money Gang Slugger. He wasn't even talking about diamonds being fake. His issue was service. He said he paid around $10,000 for pieces and waited 90 days to get them. 3 months. Meanwhile, he's watching bigger artists walk in and get custom pieces turned around in just a few days. Imagine that. You paid, you waiting, and someone else skips the line because they got more clout. That doesn't sit right. And that taps into something deeper that a lot of artists have been quietly saying for years. The idea that early supporters, the ones who help build the brand, don't always get treated the same once the spotlight gets bigger. That day one versus celebrity tension, it's real. And Sauce Walka clearly felt that when he said he wasn't getting the same level of treatment as bigger names, even after spending serious money over the years. Now through all this noise, the accusations, the responses, the testing videos, one key person stayed completely quiet. Paul Wall. That's big because Paul Wall isn't just some random name in this story. He's been Johnny Dang's business partner since the early 2000s. He helped build the whole grill movement with him. But during all this, silence, no interviews, no posts addressing the drama, nothing direct at all. Now that silence got people thinking. Some say he's just being smart, letting Johnny handle the situation while keeping things stable behind the scenes. Others feel like maybe there's more going on that hasn't come out yet. Either way, people notice. And then there's Sauce Walka again, because after all that intense energy, he actually dialed it back a bit. In the comments, he called Johnny a goat and said there were no hard feelings. He even posted photos back at the shop later on. That confused a lot of people. But by that point, it didn't even matter anymore. The clips were already everywhere. Millions of views, endless reposts, constant debates. Once something like that goes viral, you can't pull it back. The narrative is already out there. And the damage already done. The narrative is already locked in. And now the entire hip-hop jewelry world is under a microscope like never before. As of late March 2026, there are still no lawsuits, no confirmed receipts, no solid independent proof showing widespread fraud. Right now, it's all social media noise, he said. He said mixed with a whole lot of opinions flying around. Johnny Dang's shop is still open, doors still swinging, clients still walking in like nothing happened. Paul Wall is still standing right there with him too. But let's be real.
Being on grills, yeah. This is something that's something that still is kind of unbelievable to me. Of course, one, because of how, big the song got.
The situation definitely left a mark on that untouchable image. That iced out king aura, it's not hitting the same right now. Diamond tester videos are everywhere, trending heavy. Rappers, influencers, even regular buyers are double checking pieces they use to flex with confidence. And it's not just about Johnny anymore. The bigger conversation is spreading across the whole industry. Now people are side-eyeing multiple jewelers, wondering if similar moves have been happening behind the scenes. The culture is starting to rethink how it spends money, who it trusts, and what real actually means. That's a big shift because at its core, this story isn't just about diamonds or grills. It's deeper than lab-grown versus natural. This is about loyalty, real loyalty built over years of business, relationships, and trust. And what happens when that loyalty gets questioned publicly? It hits different. It's about trust too. The belief that when you spend serious money, we're talking hundreds of thousands, you're getting exactly what you were promised. No shortcuts, no surprises. And it also raises a tough question. What if the people who helped build your name, the day ones, the early supporters, start feeling like they weren't treated right the whole time? That doubt alone can shake everything. Now, whether Johnny Dang ends up clearing his name completely, or whether more proof comes out later, or even if this whole thing slowly fades into another chapter of hip-hop drama, one thing is clear. That crown, it's heavier than ever. He's still active, still creating, still doing business. But the whispers are loud. The testing videos aren't slowing down anytime soon.
But also keep in mind, Johnny started off as a wholesaler. He was a manufacturer for people like me who would go out and sell to the public.
And the questions raised by Sauce Walker, Plug Geo, and even those old Lil Durk warnings, they changed how people look at their jewelry. For real, if more artists start dropping receipts, test results, or speaking out, this situation could go even further. But right now, everybody's watching, everybody's checking, and nobody's forgetting anytime soon. If you made it this far, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this with someone who needs to see it. More breakdowns coming soon, and trust, you don't want to miss what's next. And then he told everyone watching something that really hit hard. Go get your jewelry checked. That clip went everywhere because this wasn't just gossip. This was someone who said he was actually in the room, making the pieces, dealing with the clients. That made people listen differently. Now add this. Geo was the same person who made Sauce Walker's new $1 million grill. So now you've got both of them aligned, both pointing fingers at the same place. That's when it really started looking serious. But here's the twist. Some people say none of these claims are proven facts. That part matters too. And just when things couldn't get any crazier, people started digging up old warnings from Lil Durk. Back in September 2021, Durk posted, "Stop buying all this jewelry without knowing what you're doing. A lot of this fake and some is overpriced. Get one jeweler and stick to them. I'm telling you, y'all gonna be pissed when the truth come out." At the time, people didn't fully connect it. But now, that message is hitting completely different. Around that same time, Lil Baby had his own situation with a fake $400,000 watch. Experts online spotted issues quickly, and the jeweler ended up apologizing, refunding him, and even giving extra jewelry as compensation. But the trust damage already done. Then in 2022, Durk doubled down again, saying, "Don't blame the rapper or athletes, blame the jeweler for selling them that bogus." So when the 2026 drama exploded, people immediately connected the dots. It started looking like warnings had been there the whole time, but nobody took them seriously until now. And just like that, what started as one artist switching jewelers turned into what many are calling one of the biggest jewelry controversies in hip hop. But to really understand why this hit so hard, you have to understand who Johnny Dang is. This isn't just some random jeweler. His story is actually powerful. Johnny Dang, born in Vietnam, grew up in a small village with no electricity, no running water, nothing easy about life. His family were jewelers though, so he learned the craft early. His father eventually escaped Vietnam and made it to Texas, starting a small jewelry shop. But Johnny didn't reunite with him until nearly a decade later. That's years of separation, real struggle. When Johnny finally arrived in Houston in 1996, he was 23, barely spoke English, and had no money. But he had skill and he had drive. Within 2 days, he was already working at a flea market jewelry stand, making just $35 a day. That's how it started. He learned fast, adapted to American styles, and by 1998, he opened his first store. But the real turning point came when Paul Wall walked in. Paul helped promote Johnny's grills in the streets while Johnny handled the craftsmanship. That partnership changed everything. They introduced better designs, custom fits, and diamond grills that didn't damage teeth. It was a whole new level. Then came the moment that took everything global. Nelly. After finding out Nelly got a grill from somewhere else, Johnny and Paul didn't argue. They made a bold move. They gifted him a real custom grill worth $20,000. That move paid off big time when Nelly invited Paul Wall onto Grills, a song that went #1 and became legendary. After that, everybody wanted in. Lil Wayne, Beyonce, Travis Scott, Megan Thee Stallion, Gucci Mane, Migos, Floyd Mayweather. The client list just kept growing. Johnny built a massive business, expanded to a huge showroom, and became a symbol of success, from nothing to multimillionaire status. That's why this situation feels so heavy, because his brand wasn't just about jewelry, it was about trust. And now that trust is exactly what people are questioning.